Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Every single week I get a lot of questions as to how do I open my BrickLink store? What set should I buy before I start? And all these different things. So what I thought I would do is make a little video on opening a BrickLink store and 5 common mistakes and misconceptions that I think people make before or when they are opening their BrickLink stores. So the first biggest mistake I think when sellers or new sellers enter into the BrickLink things, they get too far ahead of themselves. They open up their store before they're actually ready. It's extremely important to make sure that all of your terms and conditions, as well as the shipping methods and all your settings on the back end of BrickLink are set up before you open your store to the public. In addition to that, you want to make sure your physical inventory is ready as well. So if you're looking for how-tos and stuff on the back end of BrickLink, I'll put a little card in the top right. I'll also post a link in the description. I've created a series called Navigating BrickLink. If you haven't seen that and you're a little confused on potentially some settings on BrickLink, go check that out. It'll be up in the corner or in the bottom description, and you can check that out and hopefully follow along with that to add some settings and adjust your settings on your BrickLink page. In addition to that, I think it's super important you know that you have bubble mailers or boxes or whatever you're going to do your shipping things in. That's extremely important with BrickLink. If you don't have that already, when you get your first order, you're not going to know what to do. So think about all that stuff before you open your store. You want to make sure you're ready before you click open and you get your first order. So the second biggest mistake I think is when a new seller puts all their eggs in one basket. They have a $300 startup thing and it's $100 they spend on stack-ons. Now they have $200 to buy stock. They put that $200, they go to a store, they find 2 sets that are on clearance, and that's all they buy. Set 1 and set 2, and they have 10 copies of set 1 and 10 copies of set 2. Now they've spent their $200 and maybe they have, 4,000 pieces. The only problem is they only have 2 different sets. So instead of putting all of your money into 2 sets, when you're just starting out, I would recommend diversifying. Build a different inventory with different parts as opposed to a ton of just one part. You do want to find a balance as you grow between the lot numbers in your store as well as the quantity that you have. But in the beginning, I think it is important to have a variety of lots in your store. In addition to that, when you're looking for values or for sets and looking at the value to part them out, don't just think about sets that part out for a high dollar amount. If you spend $100 on this set but it parts out for $200, that sounds pretty good because you're making $200, but keep in mind that's only a 2 times part out value. Generally, you want to go for a 3 times part out value or higher. This generally pays for your expenses, shipping, materials and all that stuff, as well as any potential labor costs that could eventually get tacked on if you get big enough. You want to start paying yourselves eventually at the end of this, so you need to factor in your time. So don't think about dollar amount when you're purchasing these. Think about the actual percentage or the multiplied times of the profit you're going to make on whatever set you're purchasing, and be sure to diversify. The third one is don't waste your money on things that are not important, and this is something I wish I would have focused on a little bit more. When we started, I don't want to say we had unlimited money because we did not, but we had a decent amount of money where we were looking at just buying things here and there that could potentially help us. It's extremely important to not blow your money right from the beginning unless it's specifically on things that are going to benefit the store either in long term or are going to for sure benefit your store in a positive way and are going to pay off in the end. Don't go purchase things that aren't going to pay off or just going to be really short term and you're going to have to replace or something. Only look for things and only spend money on things, especially in the beginning, on things that are going to last and they're going to be important through your store. Don't just waste money on whatever you want. Even though you may have $500 to start this new BrickLink business and you're excited about that, spend that money really wisely because it will pay off and it will turn out to be different in the end if you don't spend it wisely. If you spend it wisely, you'll make a return on all that investment and more quicker, most likely. So the fourth thing is make sure you're organized when you start your store. I know a lot of sellers who don't actually organize all their parts right when they open in the beginning. I think it's extremely important to figure out some sort of organization system for your store and know that in the beginning when you open your store. If you're not set up with whatever organization system you're going to do, and let's say you only have 10 tubs, each of those tubs has a color in it, you're going to be digging through those to find whatever color part and spending a lot more time picking orders than you need to. So what I would do is, you could do drawer systems, you could do little organizers, you could do whatever it is, but keep in mind there needs to be some sort of organization. And I think it is important that it's from the beginning of your store. If you wait until 2 months into your store to change your organization, it's a lot more work for you to go in and adjust every single remark on every single piece and assign it a new place or a new home. If you start out from the beginning, it's very helpful. Talking about starting out from the beginning, something else you can do is track your costs. So there's a My Cost field section you're able to do or able to add or fill in on your store for every piece that you add. If you keep track of your costs for each piece from the beginning, it'll be much more helpful when later down the road you're trying to figure out what your profits are. The only way you can really do this is from the very beginning of your store. You could factor in, some averages and stuff later on, but the only way to truly understand exactly what you paid for each piece is to do it right from the beginning. So if you're just starting out, figure out organization as well as track your costs for each piece using the My Cost field on BrickLink. And the fifth thing that I think is extremely important to understand, or a mistake or a misconception about BrickLink for new sellers, is that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not something where you're going to spend 2 months doing it and now you have $10,000 to spend and you can stop doing BrickLink. BrickLink takes an incredible amount of time and an incredible amount of work, as well as an incredible amount of learning. If you don't know the Lego, the Lego company and the brand and the pieces and everything, even if you do know that, there's a whole new side to learning or to learn about, specifically with selling. If you don't know about that, you're going to have to learn about that, and that takes time as well. I've been doing this for just over 5 years on and off, and in addition to that, I've been doing it full time for 7, almost 8 months now, but I'm still learning every single day that we do something. So it's extremely important to keep that in mind, that this is in no way a get-rich-quick scheme. You're going to have to put some money in the beginning to get it started, and then slowly it's going to grow over time. Now, a little thing I like to say, and something I think is very true based on a lot of sellers I've seen, is don't expect your store to stop at a certain number. Don't say you want 50,000 parts and that's it. Expect to grow bigger than you ever expected. We've grown much bigger than I really expected from the beginning, and now we have a goal to get to 1 million parts at some point. That's very difficult, but we're going to do that in the future. I know another seller, Trick or Brick, who I don't think ever intended to get to 200,000+ pieces, but he did, and he just continued growing. So expect to be bigger than you've ever expected. I think that's important as well. But keep in mind, this is a lot of work and a lot of effort goes into this, into the BrickLink hobby or business. So keep that in mind. Understand that you're signing up for something and you're signing up for an obligation. Once someone gives you the money for the parts you need, you have to ship those out to them. So it's a responsibility. Treat it as a job in addition to a hobby. You should have fun, but it is a responsibility you do need to fulfill. Hopefully some of you guys who are new to opening a BrickLink store have found this a little bit useful. I have another video, 5 tips on starting a BrickLink store. You can check that out in the top right if you would like. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything you think I missed in this video, let me know in the comments section down below. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you all in the next one.